أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا إلى يوم الدين وبعد. We'll continue inshallah the tafseer of Surah Al-Qasas. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ ودخل المدينة على حين غفلة من أهلها فوجد فيها رجلين يقتتلان هذا من شيعته وهذا من عدوه فاستغاثه الذي من شيعته على الذي من عدوه فوكزه موسى فقضى عليه قال هذا من عمل الشيطان إنه عدو مضل مبين. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ and then he entered the city. The city here is referring to Egypt, Cairo, or some of the Syrians specify the place to be a place called Ain Shams. That's a well-known area in Egypt in the city. Between the time that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةِ, there is at least 10 years. Yes? Or no? Then وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, we said what age is that? Huh? لا. Majority says when بلغ أشده, he became a young, in youth age, 18 to 20. Huh? في الأشد. That's one. Two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ. The last part that we recited in the ayat was that Musa alayhi salam was what? MashaAllah. Huh? Yeah, but he was what? Before this ayah, the last verse, Musa was what? A baby. A baby. So we have 20 years of his life, and then we jump into 10 years. But what happened in those years? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not mention anything. He just skipped the story. And that's why sometimes you'll see that in the Quran, because when there is no significant lessons from the story, Allah will just skip the story. And this is very important in narrating stories. To be eloquent, you have to leave off details. Details that will not benefit the story. I was driving on the highway and I saw an accident. Done. I was driving on the highway, I was wearing a red t-shirt, and actually I didn't have my seatbelt on, and I was like, I don't need to know all that. What are you getting to? Oh, there was an accident. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَرَدَدْنَاهُ إِلَىٰ أُمِّهِ كَيْ تَقَرَّ عَيْنُهَا. We returned him to his mother. She breastfeed him. And then وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ, when he reached maturity age. And then وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةِ, then he entered the city at age what? Huh? When 80? Who said 80? No, hold on. No. Okay. 30. We know 30. How do we know he was 30 years old? Because he's going to kill a man and run to Madian, and he's going to spend there what? 10 years, then he's going to come back as a prophet at age 40. So we know how old was he. And that's why وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى cannot refer to 40, because what's the point of he was 40 years old. Then دخل المدينة. Okay, we could tell from the story the age of Musa alayhi salam by how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala narrates that. So he said, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةِ, he entered the city. It was known that there were two, the Coptics of Egypt and Bani Israel. The Coptics of Egypt were the supreme. Banu Israel. No, Coptics are not Christians. They got the name from that. Yeah, they're called Aqbatu Misr before that even existed. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he spoke about the Qibt of Egypt, he did not refer only to Christians. He referred to the people who lived in Egypt, were known to be Coptics. Yes, and then the religion developed out of that later on. So Allah said, وَدَخَلَ الْمَدِينَةَ, he entered the city. عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ, at a time when people were unaware. Usually that time is, the people of Bani Israel were not permitted to enter certain places. We could relate to that. We live in a country that, mashallah, was filled with that. Yeah? Yeah, you guys studied history? No? Okay. But you know what I'm talking about. Segregations, there was white and colors. No, not just black. Colors. You cannot sit in certain places. You cannot enter certain places. You cannot drink. Even the bathrooms were white and colors. Remember? So Egypt was like that. People who followed Fir'aun, they were his family, friends, and they could be in these towns. Anyone else other than them, they cannot enter without permission. So Musa entered at a time when people were unaware. That means that Musa was already out of the house of Fir'aun by then. And we said, why did he do that? Because he found out that Fir'aun was an oppressor. And you cannot stand up with oppression. Even if you have to leave. أَلَمْ تَكُنْ أَرْضُ اللَّهِ وَاسِعَةً. We cannot have an excuse and say, well, there's nothing I could do, man. Musa did not say, I was raised in this house. Where am I going to go? He's like a father. La. So he himself was from Bani Israel, so he knew what Fir'aun was doing to Bani Israel. So he stood by their side and he decided, you know what? I'm going to leave the house of Fir'aun. And from the story, we could know that he actually left the house of Fir'aun. He was not living in his house during that time. So he entered the city. دخل المدينة على حين غفلة من أهلها. So when people were unaware, that's during the time of Qaylula. Anybody know when Qaylula is? Afternoon. Nap. Nope. Anyone know what Qaylula is? Evening nap. Before Asr maybe? Between Dhuhr and Asr? It's the time before Dhuhr prayer and the time before Maghrib prayer. These two times are called Qaylula. So you could say, I did my Qaylula. Nowadays we do our Qaylula wrong. We do it after Dhuhr. It's not actually after Dhuhr. It's before Dhuhr. Okay? Why? Because they used to work from after, like from 6 a.m. They're not like us. They used to wake up early. Today when we wake up at 10 o'clock, we're like, oh man, I woke up early today. La, to them, 6 o'clock they're up. They work all the way to 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock they take a nap. Then they wake up at Dhuhr time. And then they go on all the way to Asr, passing Asr, close to Maghrib, and then they sleep before Maghrib, and then they wake up for Maghrib. That's why the story of the Sahabi of Ramadan, the reason that the ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayat, أُحِلَّ لَكُمْ لَيْلَةَ الصِّيَامِ الرَّفَثُ إِلَى نِسَائِكُمْ هُنَّ لِبَاسٌ لَكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لِبَاسٌ. The reason that this ayah was revealed is this man, when he came from work before Maghrib, he slept, and then he woke up after Isha. At beginning of Islam, the beginning of Islam was that if you were to sleep past Maghrib, you cannot break your fast. So what time is Maghrib? Okay, I'll explain it in time-wise. I know you guys don't get some things, but I know. What time is Maghrib? 7. 7 what? 7:18. So if I come home tired and I sleep at 6:30 and I wake up at 8:30, time of Maghrib is already over. So I cannot break my fast. I have to wait till the next day. So this man did that. He slept. So when he woke up, he said to his wife, where's the food? She said, oh, you're a loser. You actually passed Maghrib, so you can't eat or drink. So he continued on fasting. Then he went to work the second day. When he got to his farm, he passed out. Because 2 days now. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the verses. What? أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختارون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم قال إيه فكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود. So eat and drink. So we have dawn and sunset. Before dawn you could eat. After sunset you could eat. The time in between, the time between Fajr and Maghrib, you cannot eat. So anytime, if you sleep, you don't sleep. And this is the rahmah, the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said he entered the city and when people were unaware, and he found there were two men fighting, one of his party and the other from the other tribe, or from the Coptics. Some narration says that this man was a worker from Bani Israel. That's why he got into the city. He was doing some job. He was a cook. He was whatever the case might be, Allah alam. So he found them fighting. The man of his own party from Bani Israel asked him for help. فَاسْتَغَاثَ. Oh, we're talking about istighatha. Is it permissible? Let's not talk about that. That's aqidah part. But istighathahu means to seek help. Seek refuge in someone. You're trying to seek protection. قال فاستغاثه الذي من شيعته على الذي من عدوه. Okay? Banu Israel. How did they get to Egypt? We skipped that. How did they get to Egypt, you think? Who brought them to Egypt? Yes, sir. You're just mixing the names. Yusuf. Yes, Prophet Yusuf. Because Israel is who? His father, Yaqub. So he brought them from Damascus to Egypt. That's how Bani Israel actually shifted to Egypt. So whenever the kings of Egypt would rule over, they had some hatred toward these strangers because they always considered them as they came from outside. They're not from our country. They're from Damascus. What are they doing here? Why don't they go back home? Does it sound like somebody we know today? Yeah. Anyway, I'm talking about Musa right now. I'm not talking about anybody. No politics. So the man of his own. Subhanallah. Wallahi, the Quran is so beautiful. The Quran is not just stories. The Quran, 1/3 of the Quran is stories. And sometimes we question, why is that? Is it Ma'adallah. May Allah forbid, okay? I don't want anybody to cut this part on TikTok. Okay? People do that nowadays, you know. Stop recording for that. But the idea is, what did I want to say? Yes. Was it the Quran too small in size that Allah said, let's just fill it with stories? Because that's how it looks like to some people. Like 1/3 of the Quran is stories. Oh, the book was so small, so he wanted to reveal it. No, that's not the case. That's why when you see a story in the Quran that is repeated, don't ever say, oh, it's the same story I read before. We already decided this is not true. Every time Musa alayhi salam was mentioned with full story of Musa. Full story about 23 times. If you look into the story, you might actually find the same story in Surah Al-Shu'ara, Surah Al-Qasas, Surah Taha, Al-Anbiya. You're like, what's going on here? It's the same? No, it's not the same story. Every time there's a new lesson, and we already discussed this before when we spoke about the story of Musa. So when Musa alayhi salam, he saw the man seeking help. قال من شيعته. We already spoke about the Shia. Shia means what? Supporters of, okay? Supporters of so and so. وَإِنَّ مِن شِيعَتِهِ لإبراهيم. Okay? So when you say this person is from his Shia, that means his supporters. This is where the word came from. Even in our Islamic history, when we say there's a group or a sect that are called Shia, we right away refer to a certain people who claims in a certain way, we're not discussing that right now, that they are supporters of Ali and Ahl al-Bayt. That's why the definition does matter sometime. And this is very important Islamically. We have, if there is a naming, we sometimes do not refer to these namings, so we do not take titles that are not our titles. For example, if I ask you today, are any of you Christian? Yes, you are. What is Christianity? Believe in Jesus as prophet of God. That's Christianity. Nowadays, when we say Christianity, we are referring to a certain group who believe in Trinity. And so you cannot come and say, I am a Muslim, Christian, Jew. No, Habibi, no, no. No, you can't. I understand what you're referring to. I understand. But sometimes you could use that in debates. You could actually use it in debates. Like only in debates. Sometimes you could say, for example, well, I am the Shia, I'm also a Shia. If the Shia means supporters of Ali, don't you love Ali? Of course. But is this what the word is referring to? No. So therefore, this title is specified to a certain group of people. So therefore, we don't title ourselves to it. Is that clear? So, because people nowadays, they tell you, oh, we're all Muslim. Yeah, it's okay, call yourself Shi'i, Sunni, whatever. No, no, hold on. We have to understand what you mean by what you're saying. Okay? So, وَإِنَّ مِنْ قَالَ فَاسْتَغَاثَهُ الَّذِي مِنْ شِيعَتِهِ عَلَى الَّذِي مِنْ عَدُوٍّ هذا من شيعته وهذا من عدوه. قال فوكزه موسى فقضى عليه. وكزه means to, So Musa struck him with his fist and he died. So Musa alayhi salam, if you read the description of Musa, mashallah, was Allah alam, I don't know how many feet, to be honest, but mashallah, huge in size, dark skin, curly hair, mashallah. It looks like he was a good built, okay, built up, mashallah. He had his own gym at Fir'aun's house. He lived in Fir'aun's house. So for sure he had some training somehow. Anyway, so all he did, he closed his fist and, طبعا, did Musa kill him? That's the question. قال الله عز وجل فوكزه موسى فقضى عليه. We have to say it this way, and this is out of respect to the prophets. We say when Musa hit the man, the qadr of Allah happened that the moment he struck them was the moment that this man would to die. So if Musa alayhi salam just slapped him on the face, if Musa alayhi salam just blew on his face, this man would have done what? Would die, because it was his moment to die. But how, for example, nowadays we make this mistake. Oh, you know so and so? Yeah. Oh man, he died in a car accident. I told him not to drive. Okay. Let me tell you, if he stayed home, he would have died. That's why when you see someone dying in Gaza today, don't feel bad, because this person was gonna die anyway. But they're dying as a shaheed. The matter here is, how are you dying? You're dying anyway. You could be dying in a nightclub, and you could be dying in a masjid. Which one would you prefer? Well, it's not what you prefer, it's where you at the time of death. And that's why Rasulullah ﷺ said, whoever lives upon something will most likely die upon it. We have a shuyukh, I had a personal shaykh, a shaykh that we learn from. This shaykh used to say always in the, Ya Allah, I wish to die in sujood. SubhanAllah, he died in sujood before he went out for Jumu'ah. If this shaykh was not praying at this moment, at so-and-so, the doctor says so-and-so died at 12 o'clock because of a heart attack. Tayyib, if he didn't have a heart attack at 12 o'clock, would he have been dead? Yes, sir, because 12 o'clock was his time to do what? To die, the qadr of Allah. So when the qadr of Allah, when death approach, it strikes the person where they're at, or how they're doing. That's why we always wish for what? Husnul Khatimah. Wish for the best death, a great return. Because my 1 a.m. is my time to leave this dunya. Inshallah, not tonight. I'm hoping for Eid. And okay, 1 a.m. By the way, 1 a.m. I'll be on the plane. I'm always afraid to die on the plane for some reason, because I travel a lot. But 1 a.m. inshallah I'll be on the plane. Tamam? If 1 a.m. is written for the angel of death to take my soul, the angel of death will take my soul. Whether I'm on the plane, whether I'm in my house, on my bed, whether I'm in the masjid. So he's gonna take my soul at 1 a.m. Now, when you say Musa, so we don't say Musa killed the man. We don't say that. Out of respect to the Prophet Musa alayhi salam, what do we say? He struck them at the time of his death. That's a better way to say it. Yes?
Then can you ever say that someone has ever killed somebody? Is there ever any fault?
Oh, no. The fault is the intention of doing it. That's why the intention you're responsible of. Musa alayhi salam, when he struck the man, did he want to kill him? No, because if he wanted to kill him, he'll take a knife out and kill him. He wouldn't just punch him in the stomach. A punch in the stomach would kill someone? Realistically, no. Correct? Even if he's strong. So we know that this is not a mean of death. But it caused death. That's why they, even in court system, they'll say, did this person intended to kill someone? Like you're driving and somebody crossed by you very quickly and you hit that person. That's called what? Unintentional, what? So this person, did you kill someone? In reality you did, but did you intend it? No, so you're not responsible. So that's the difference. Understand that? In the story of Sulaiman alayhi salam, even though the hadith is narrated by Israeliyat, when Sulaiman alayhi salam was sitting down with a man, and the man said, someone came to visit Sulaiman alayhi salam, so yeah, so yes, the man came, I'm just trying to get the story together. So Sulaiman alayhi salam, a man came to visit Sulaiman, he had a friend with him. So this man who came to visit was looking at Sulaiman's friend. Okay, so after the man left, Sulaiman alayhi salam said to his friend, he said, do you know who came to visit? He said, no. He said, he is the angel of death. So the man said, oh man, the only thing I fear in my life is what? Death. Can you send me, because Sulaiman could control the wind, the jinn. So he said, could you send me on like a wind, blow me out of this country, get me all the way to India? And Sulaiman said, why? He said, I want to go as far as I can. I don't want to die now. So the angel of death, when he came, he was smiling at Sulaiman. So Sulaiman said, what was your surprise? He said, I was surprised that I was told to take this person's soul in India, but I was shocked. How is he going to be in India when I saw him here in Palestine? So I was like, angel of death is commanded to take a person's soul. Allah will say, take his soul in the US. Khalas, it's in the US. Okay, this person lived all his life in California but died in New York. Wow. No, it's not wow. It's written that he will die in New York, not in California. Done. So the angel of death went to India. He was waiting for this man to come, and Sulaiman sent him there, so he took his soul. So he came back to Sulaiman. He said, Subhanallah. He came to his death. Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said what? أينما تكونوا يدرككم الموت ولو كنتم في بروج مشيدة. Death will approach you regardless of where you're at. It's a matter of how do you decide to end your own life in the best state of iman. So Musa, فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. So Musa alayhi salam struck them, and that's why Musa alayhi salam would also hold it as a sin, even though Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has forgiven him for it because it's unintentional, but he still considered it as a sin in the Day of Judgment. That shows you the level of righteousness. In the Day of Judgment, we will be standing under the sun for thousands of years. May Allah protect all of us, Ya Rabbi. And then they will say, who do you think should intercede? So they will say, well, our father, our forefather. Who's our forefather? Huh? Adam alayhi salam. So they will say, go to Adam and talk to him. And then he will say, Adam will say, no, I disobeyed Allah and I came out of Jannah. Go to my son, Nuh. They go to Nuh. He says, I made dua already against my own people. Go to Ibrahim. They go to Ibrahim. He will say, I lied 3 times. And then go to Musa. So they go to Musa, he'll say, I already killed the man and I asked for forgiveness. Go to Isa. They go to Isa and he says, go and ask Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to intercede for you. So Musa alayhi salam still holds it as a mistake. Okay? But he did it out of what? Supporting the oppressed ones. Some narration said that this person was a cook, as we said, and he did some work for the Coptic, but he did not get paid. So he was arguing with him about his payment. The Coptic said, you know what? I'm not going to pay you anything. See what you're going to do. Like, what are you going to do about it? So the man said, well, I'm going to fight you. It seems that he was a troublemaker too. Like, it actually seemed that the Bani Israel guy was also a troublemaker. So he was fighting. As soon as he saw Musa coming in, he knew that Musa, mashallah, was strong. So he seeked his support. So that's why Musa felt that this man needs help. He's oppressed. And that's why he helped him. By the way, he did not help him just because he was his family, Bani Israel. He helped him because he was mazloom. And that's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said in the hadith, "Unsur akhaka zaliman aw mazluman." Listen to this hadith. He said, Rasulullah said, support your brother whether he is an oppressor or he is oppressed. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, if he is oppressed, we understand how to support him. But how do we support him when he's an oppressor? He said, prevent him from committing oppression. You stop him. That's supporting him because you don't want him to do wrong. So in both cases, you're always in support of your brothers. Okay, you stand by their side. So Musa alayhi salam stood by his side because of because of the weakness that the man had, and because of oppression that the man had. Subhanallah. Musa alayhi salam was one of those prophets that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam said he was so tough. His characteristic was so. There are people who are like that, mashallah. Every country has its own. What do you say? We could say temper mode. Okay, some people are so relaxed. No matter what you say to them, they're so cool and they don't get angry much. Some other places, as soon as you say hi, they're like, "What? What's going on?" Like, okay. So it seems that Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, because of his characteristic, he was not angry and anger mode all the time, but he was, not aggressive, يعني دم like Brother Muhammad, mashallah, Algerian, mashallah, he chose the right. Like Umar radiallahu anhu, you imagine Umar, anybody says something, he said, you want me to take my sword out? Yeah, baby, relax. We could talk. There's talking first. Okay? Sheikh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, was talking to a brother from Morocco. Okay? And Moroccos are what? Cool off or high temper? Which one? MashaAllah, they are very high temper. So the Sheikh was saying to this person, he said to him, he said, MashaAllah, you Moroccans, MashaAllah, you guys have the best food, generosity, you're very nice, you're very accommodating, you respect so much, but just one problem, little problem you have. The guy said, what it is? He said, that right there. Subhanallah, Musa alayhi salam from his, he even debated Adam alayhi salam, and he was arguing with his own father. Rasulullah said Adam and Musa met. So Musa alayhi salam, as soon as he saw Adam, he said, so you are Adam. You got us from Jannah, you got us out of Jannah. Okay? أغويت الناس وأخرجتهم من الجنة. Because of you, we got out of Jannah. So Adam alayhi salam said, and you are Musa? He said, yes. He said, you spoke to Allah? He said, yes. He said, Allah revealed His books to you? He said, yes. He said, and you're complaining about His qadar? You don't know that I got out of Jannah because of the destiny of Allah? So Rasulullah said, Adam defeated Musa in the argument. Because he cannot say anything. It's the qadar of Allah. It's the destiny of Allah for Adam to get out of Jannah. It's just a matter of what he did. So he was telling Musa, why are you holding it against me? But Musa alayhi salam, subhanAllah, people are different. People are different. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, from his characteristic, he would not get angry except if someone would accuse or speak ill or speak wrong about the deen of Allah. But to himself, he wouldn't get angry. When the man came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he held him from here, can you imagine? He came. Just imagine this. Imagine this. You're sitting down here. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is sitting down. This man came out of nowhere. He held the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from his clothes. His face, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's face turned red to a point that the clothes left a mark on his neck. That's how severe. And he pushed him to the wall. And he said, "Ya Muhammad, where's my share of the money that you got?" Because he got money from the battle. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umar, imagine, I could see that. If Umar was there, alhamdulillah that Rasulullah used to tell Umar, relax. Or else Umar would have cut many heads, mashallah. Umar would say, Ya Rasulullah, what's going on? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq came, and Abu Bakr is on the side of what? Cool off and calm. But this moment he got out, he held the man and he pushed him away. And he cried, radiallahu anhu, and he said, how could you do that to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't, let him speak. And the man was among the Bedouins. He doesn't know what, they did not have the same level of knowledge or even respect that the Sahaba had, because they were not, these people, shepherds, they're in the middle of the desert day and night. So Musa alayhi salam, when you read in his seerah, throughout his seerah, what did he do to his brother? When he went to speak with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the mountain, and then he came back and he found that they worship the created cow that they created. The first thing he did to his brother is what? The first thing he did was what? No, before he yelled at him. He took his books. No, the first. أخذ الألواح. What did he do? He took his books that he had in his hand and he did what? Struck them on the ground. These are the books that he wrote the Torah on. And then he took his beard. He pulled him from his beard. And he said, يَبْنَ لا تأخذ بلحيتي ولا برأسي. Don't do that to me. Don't do that in front of them. And Musa was like, and Harun was older than Musa. A year older. But khalas, when Musa gets angry, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and be pleased with him. Allahumma ameen. So he said, يَبْنَ لا تأخذ بلحيتي ولا برأسي. And some says that subhanallah, even the Arab used to do that. If you would like to speak to someone of honor at the time of anger, you hold their beard. So it was not disrespect. It was not disrespect. And that's why the man, if you know his name, I'll give you a gift. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ during the time of Al-Hudaybiyah. Here you go, I'm giving you hints. And he did that to the Prophet, and his nephew was standing, he was talking to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and every few minutes he would go up and he would hold the beard of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, was not Abu Sufyan. And the guy who was standing behind Rasulullah had his face covered, like mashallah, we see it nowadays a lot. But anyway, he had his face covered, so he had his sword, okay? His sword was in the little, I don't know what huh? Like a shield, a kid. So he used to hit him strike him on his hand. Every time he gets closer to the Prophet, he goes like that. So he looks at him and he said, Ya Muhammad, who is he? And Rasulullah said, don't worry about him, just talk. Then they talk. He comes closer, he holds the Rasulullah's beard, he strikes him on his hand. He says, Ya Muhammad, who's this guy behind you? Anybody know him? Jibreel. Urwa ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi. His nephew was who? Who? Al-Miqdam. Oh, you Google it. No gifts. No gifts. Yeah, Urwa ibn Mas'ud al-Thaqafi, and his nephew was Al-Miqdam, and he said, when Rasulullah said, uncover your face, he uncovered his face, and he said, oh, it's you. I just cleaned up your filth yesterday. It was his nephew. He killed people in Mecca, and he was his uncle. He had to pay his ransom. He said, I just cleaned off your filth yesterday, and you're doing this to me? He said, Wallahi, if your hand gets closer to the Prophet one more time, I will cut it off. And then that's why when he went back to Mecca, and the people of Mecca were like, we're going to prevent Muhammad from coming into Mecca, and those shepherds with him are going to run away from him. He said, no, 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 don't think they're going to do that. Wallahi, my own nephew, I saw, you should have seen what he did to me. I could not even get closer to his beard. You think you're going to get to his neck? Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa sallallahu ala Musa, wa sallallahu upon all the prophets. Subhanakallahumma wa hamdik, shalla la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. One thing to mention before we go. And I'm not going to discuss this because this needs a longer discussion and it could cause some problems. But I'm just going to mention thing. We started the qiyam in the masjid, inshallah. Yesterday I completely forgot that the number we were aiming for was 21 rak'ah. So Brother Uthman, Jazakallah khair, they reminded me. So we're going to do, inshallah, 10 rak'at at night and 8 taraweeh with witr. One brother told me something and I'm just going to comment on it. That they prayed with us a few years back, and we pray very long salah in the night qiyam. Well, the last 10 days of Ramadan, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do way more than the first 20 days. Everybody knows that. He used to do i'tikaf in the masjid. He used to pray all night. He used to wake up his family. He would not sleep at all. But because of I know some people told me that they're not coming because of that. So I don't want to prevent anyone from coming to tahajjud or coming to the night qiyam because of that. So what we're going to do, inshallah, as we did yesterday. Yesterday was long. La, alhamdulillah, we didn't go long. We did 8 rak'ah. Before we used to do only 2 rak'ah for 2 hours. That was very long. I witnessed to that. Or even 4 rak'ah in 2 hours, that was very long. But alhamdulillah, I personally, okay, I'll find a way to do it myself if this is the case. But just to make it possible for everybody, inshallah, especially these last 10 days are a benefit. Come to tahajjud at 4 a.m. inshallah. We'll be praying inshallah 10 rak'at. You know, not very long and not very short either, but inshallah a reasonable amount, and then we have suhoor afterward. So do not let the old idea of, oh, Sheikh Ammar goes ruku' for 20 minutes. I never did ruku' for 20 minutes. Yani stop saying that. It's been I never did ruku'. You know what's the problem? I'll tell you seriously. Are we still on camera? It doesn't matter. Okay. The problem is in our regular salah, our ruku' is usually 3-4 seconds. So if somebody goes a little more than 5 seconds, they think it's 20 minutes. So the problem is not me doing the ruku' 20 minutes. I can't. If I do ruku' 20 minutes, I'm not going to get up. I'm just going to go to sujood. It's too long. It's not possible. Doing sujood for 20 minutes, no. I told the brothers last time, time it. They were not praying. I said, sit in the back and time. The maximum time that the ruku' and sujood was 1 minute, 1.5, maybe 2 minutes. But 2 minutes in a length of time for us is so long because we're not used to it. And some people, they tell me, oh, like, what do you say in those 2 minutes? What do you mean, what do you say? This is my opportunity to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have anything to ask Allah for? Wallah, that's your problem. Okay? So in regular time, seriously, in regular time, this is what we do. And Rasulullah sallam didn't pray like that. This is what we do. Allahu Akbar. So Allahu Akbar, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, Sami Allahu liman hamid. That's what everybody thinks is normal. This to them is actually 1 minute now. To them. So if you go Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, Subhan Rabbiyal Azim, then Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, Wallahu Akbar, Wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. 10 times, and then you get up. That's all. Everybody's like, 20 minutes ruku'. I'm like, what do you mean 20 minutes? There's no way. The dhikr does not take 10 seconds. But we're not used to it. But anyway, just that the brothers told me yesterday and today, we are going to try our best, inshallah, to do it. We have suhoor at the masjid. Try, inshallah, to make it for the night qiyam. Do not miss the opportunity of praying it in jama'ah in the masjid. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did it in the masjid, especially at night. He used to wake up his family to pray that salah. Qiyam is very important. Standing up for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, me and the brothers were talking after Maghrib. They were saying, what did the brother say? Ramadan is almost over. It is going to be over in a few days. We just remember, we used to say, oh, we started Ramadan. Right now, we are in the last 10 days of Ramadan. Few days, it's going to be Done. We're gonna go back to our normal life. And then, does any of you remember the long qira'ah or long sujood or long ruku' of last year? We don't even remember. It's gone. But it's gone with our good hasanat. It's not gone, it's written for us. So now we don't remember it, but we want to do it. So don't stop yourself from coming to Qiyam. Qiyamul Layl is a sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially in the last 10 days. Don't stop yourself because the Shaykh prays long. We're not going to pray long. Khalas, we'll stop that. Here you go. The excuse is done. We're going to pray 10 raka'at at night at 4 o'clock up to suhoor. We're going to eat suhoor together, inshallah, all the way to the 27th. Then we'll have a blessed night, inshallah. We ask Allah to accept from all of us. Jazakumullah khair, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.
الله أكبر الله أكبر